Greatest of evenings to you. We are going to be getting started in 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set up the Facebook Live for any who wish to join that way. And as I mentioned previously, this session is going to also be posted on YouTube. So for those who don't catch it live, they'll be able to watch it back on YouTube. But I'm going to be streaming it live on Facebook. So anybody who's interested in joining via that platform is welcome to do so. And but Zoom is also available for those who wish to join that way. Anyone who's not friends with myself on Facebook is welcome to join on the Zoom as the information is there. So we're going to title this dollar or so episode 4 dollar cost averaging first round. And we're going to go live. So we're going to be going live on Facebook Live. We'll also be on Zoom. Any and everybody's welcome to join. If you have questions and you're on Zoom, feel free to go ahead and post those in the chat group. If you are on Facebook, which should be loading very shortly, then we will take those questions on Facebook as well. I It's listed that it's from 6 to 7. I don't anticipate it'll take all of that time, but I want for everybody to be able to see it. So this is part of the Making of a Trust Fund using dollar cost averaging series. This is a year-long series. So it started at the beginning of this year in January 1st. We started out with the funds being deposited into the ATM. Then from there, we did the transfer from the bank account to the Charles Schwab brokerage account. And then the third step was we actually went through the process of purchasing the different equities and positions. So that's where we left off at step 3. So that's where we left out. And for some reason, it says the connection is timed out. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go live on Facebook. Hopefully, everybody be able to have access to it on that platform as well. It's preparing. So we got 3 minutes before we're going to officially kick off, but I want to just share that we left off with episode 3 where we actually purchased the equities. So the last time that we were a part of this series, went through the process of actually purchasing the various equities and positions. And whatever it is that I'm using that term equities, we're talking about stocks, individual companies, we're talking about growth ETFs, we're talking about all of those different positions. So that's where we left off previously. That was on January 2nd. We went through that process, and that included purchasing a variety of different funds, different ETFs, different individual growth companies. All of those were there. So today is episode 4, and we're picking off where we left off last time. So everybody who's joining via Zoom, greatest of evenings to you. As I've mentioned, feel free to post any questions or anything that you have questions related to the process. And in about 2 minutes time, we're going to get started because I want to make sure that we get in as much of this process as possible so everybody can see it from start to finish. So thanks for joining. I know for a lot of people, this was all last minute, and it's because there's a whole lot going on as always. So that's the reason why. But we're going to kick it off right at 6 p.m. Any questions you have, feel free to post it. I'm more than happy to get those questions answered, and then you'll be able to see the entire process. Once again, to reiterate, this will be posted on YouTube. So the page is, and I'll go ahead and share that so everybody can take a look at that. So you can go to YouTube, and once you go to YouTube, you can type in the law offices of Mario A. Reed, and right at that page, there's a lot of content, lots of videos. We get a lot of people who are out of state, out of town, and they say, I can't make it to the workshop. And okay, you can always go type in the law offices of Mario A. Reed right at YouTube, and then it'll bring up the page for our office. It's also called the Education Esquire. and you can watch back a lot of the content. So not all of the content that comes from the knowledge movement sessions is posted on the page, but there are lots of different videos, lots of snippets, lots of topics. So it's 6 p.m. and we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. So once again, my name is Mario A. Reed. I'm the managing law partner for the Lumarty Law Group, also known as the Law Offices of Mario A. Reed, the Education Esquire. It's an acronym. So for those people who always ask, what's Lumarty? That's what the acronym is for. So this workshop is episode 4, and this is part of the making of a trust fund using dollar cost averaging. So we're at step 4 or episode 4. A lot of people, as we've been embarking upon this journey, have said, I don't have $100,000 to invest. So as a result of that, what you're talking about isn't beneficial to me. Nothing could be further from the truth. However, for most people, unless they see the progress, they can't imagine or fathom that it's something that they could do. So while having conversations with lots of different individuals from lots of different walks of life, I said, you know what? Since 2026 is here, we're going to start at ground zero. And we're going to start with a basic amount, and then we're going to keep on building with that through what's called dollar cost averaging. So dollar cost averaging is a concept which I wish I would have been introduced to as a little boy, because most of us can relate to taking $10, $15, $20 a month, putting it aside, and then having that money for a rainy day. The problem is that if it's just sitting in a savings account or underneath the mattress or in a shoebox, nothing's happening with it. So while it's great to save, you're not actually gaining a whole lot in the process. Whereas had you have done what's called dollar cost averaging, which is when you take that same $10, $15, $20, you put it in a brokerage account, and then you use it to purchase different equities, stocks, ETFs, bonds, whatever it is that you want to purchase. Now you're growing that wealth, and it's growing exponentially. So this website that I'm currently on is TipRanks, and that's TIPRANKS. Tip like TI, King of the South, ranks.com. And there's a calculator which is called dollar cost averaging calculator. This calculator is life changing. And the reason why it's life changing is because it allows you to take a look at the possibilities. So early today, we had a client come into the office, and she's been coming to the knowledge movement sessions that we do on the west side of Chicago, out at Hope Church. I want to say thank you to Roman Morrow, as well as to Pastor Epting, for opening up the doors to Hope Church and providing that opportunity to go and share this information on the west side of Chicago. Well, she's been attending those workshops, and she made it a point to get her affairs in order. So she came in today with her mother and sat down and is embarked upon getting her trust in place. Well, she made a comment that she wishes she would have known about this back in about 2017 when she left corporate America, because had she have known about it, she would have been able to be in a very different position, because she says she's been very aggressive towards working towards her retirement. Well, by said, I'll let you see exactly what that would look like. So at this website, you can go to where it says TQQQ. I'm sorry, you can go to tipranks.com, and then you can type in the stock symbol of TQQQ. In doing so, you can take a look and see what type of possibilities have already existed. This will not predict the future. This will allow you to see historically what type of performance has existed with any stock that you want to take a look at. So we have TQQQ, which is the stock symbol for the NASDAQ. But instead of it just being the NASDAQ at one time, it's the NASDAQ times 2. So it's the NASDAQ on steroids. And the NASDAQ, for those who aren't aware, is the top 100 tech companies in the world. So we have, let's say she said that she left from her corporate America job, and we're going to go ahead and just say she started in 2016, because that's how far back TQQQ will go. Well, in January of 2016, had she have taken $10,000, put it in her brokerage account, and purchased TQQQ, and then each month had have invested $1,000 in that brokerage account while still purchasing more TQQQ, she would have contributed $129,000 of her money. The money she took out of her bank account, the money she took out of her wallet, would have translated to $129,000. However, her brokerage account would right now be worth $1.176 million. So she mentioned that she's really aggressive, and we get a lot of people who, especially who are a little bit longer in the tooth, further along in their life continuum, and they say, well, I need to be aggressive and I need to see results a lot faster. How do you like 10 years worth of $1,000 a month giving you $1,000,000? This is what this video series is about. So I'm actually showing it in real time so that all the people who say, oh, I can't invest because I don't have $100,000. No, that's not the case. What I like to say is that dollar cost averaging is investing for poor people. And not to sugarcoat it, not to in any way, shape, or form misrepresent it or mischaracterize it. It's people who can't go grab large sums of money and dump it into a brokerage account. Now, before I get started with the actual video of me doing that, I've already heard from people when I was on the West Side and even when I was last night at Croc Center. Everybody doesn't have $2,500 a month to be able to do this with. And that's okay. Because remember, it doesn't matter what the amount is. What matters is that you're simply doing it. And I'm going to show you why. Because if we take the $1,000 and go down to $100, you still end up with $387,000. Now, is $387,000 as good as 1.176 million? Not in my opinion or estimation, but I'd still rather have $387,000, especially considering that I only contributed $21,900. So before I get started and before people start posting comments and saying, oh, everybody doesn't have $2,500. I get it. I know. Trust me, I grew up with 5 brothers and 3 sisters. I wore my brother's hand-me-downs. We used to share one milkshake for all 9 of us. I've lived that life. But I've also made a commitment where I'm going to work hard to put myself in a position where I can grow my wealth. That's what this is about. So the goal is to show you the principles. Don't focus on the numbers. All right. So now with that being the case, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be working in Charles Schwab. And the reason why I'm working in Charles Schwab is because I've had virtually every brokerage account under the sun. I still have Robinhood. I still have E-Trade. I have Vanguard. I have Fidelity. I have Merrill Lynch. All the list goes on and on and on. But what I've come to find and realize is that Charles Schwab is the best. And that's my personal opinion. That's not my professional opinion because I'm not a financial planner. This is not financial advice. But my personal opinion as someone who has lots of different brokerage companies is Charles Schwab is the best, especially when we're talking about dollar cost averaging. And I'm going to explain why. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in. As I tell everyone, please don't steal my information. Please don't steal my brokerage account. Help me out in that regard. Once I sign in, one of the reasons why I really like Charles Schwab is because they've got this dashboard. And this dashboard allows me to take a look at all the different accounts that I have. Now, because I have so many different trust funds that I've set up for my siblings, for my parents, for all these different people, that's why you're seeing all of these different brokerage accounts. But the one that I'm going to be focusing on is the Living the Dream Legacy Revocable Living Trust. And that's the first reason why I say Charles Schwab is so fantastic, because of the fact that you can open up the brokerage account in the name of your trust. So that's a tremendous feature, which is very helpful because we don't want the asset to be in our name. We want it to be in the name of the trust. So that's step one, which is outstanding. Once it is that you log into your account, you're then going to go to where it says move money. Then you're going to go to where it says transfers and payments. Then you're going to go to online transfers. Then from there, you're going to transfer over the money. So you would do cash only. You'll select the external account, where the money's coming from, and then you'll select which one of the brokerage accounts you want it to go to. In my case, I already did the transfer. I already transferred over the $2,500 for this month. Each month, I'm going to be transferring $2,500, and we're going to be doing that as the dollar cost averaging. So when we talk about dollar cost averaging, we're taking a set amount of money and we're consistently putting it in the brokerage account, and we're using it to purchase more of any variety of equities and positions. So you'll notice here where it says in this column, cash and investments, there's $2,500.40. This is the account that we're going to be working with. I'm going to click on that account. Once I click on this account, now we're ready to go through the process of purchasing the equities. You'll see that it shows that this account has already gained $816.39. That's since January 2nd of this year. So January 2nd was the first day of trading for this trading year. And since January 2nd, this account has appreciated by $816.39. This is why I really, really appreciate Charles Schwab, because it allows you to take a look at your whole portfolio in a very easy to read format. This $816.39 appreciation essentially comes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. These 19 positions is where the appreciation has come from. I'm quickly and easily able to see that, as opposed to, for instance, with the Robinhood, I got to go in individually and take a look at each one of those positions. That's time consuming. Time is a commodity that I don't have, so I'm always about what's most efficient. Charles Schwab is providing that to me. I can sort via this column. I can click showing my gains and losses. It'll show it increasing and then show it decreasing. You can sort by any of these columns. So if you want to see which one of these positions has increased the most dollar amount, you can select this one. Surprise, surprise, it was SanDisk. If I want to see which one is losing the most, Palantir. So this setup is very convenient, especially for dollar cost averaging, because we want to know who are winners and who are losers. Now I'm going to pause here and see, does anybody have any questions thus far? So we're about to start digging into executing the trades, but does anybody have any questions? And I'm going to be hopping back and forth between the Facebook link as well as the Zoom. So if you have questions, go ahead and post them in the Zoom question or chat group. And then if you're on Facebook, feel free to post on there. I don't see anything that's over on Facebook, so we're good there. And then I don't see anything popping up on Zoom, so we're good there. Okay, wait, something just came through. Got a little bubble. All right, so I have a trust, but it's in my name. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's an example of what we don't want. The purpose of a trust is to help create anonymity. If I name my trust the Mario A. Reed Legacy Revocable Living Trust, how much anonymity have I really accomplished? It's a common thing that I see in my profession as an estate planning attorney, and unfortunately, it's not something that I can change as an industry standard. I can't tell any other attorney, hey, don't name the trust after that individual. However, I would never recommend having a trust named after yourself. So it's up to you to decide, do you want to use that, do you not want to use it? But the goal is that if I ever have to sign up for Medicaid and Medicaid says, what assets do you have? In good conscience, I'm going to say I got nothing. And then when they start poking around and looking for assets that have my name on it, they're not going to find anything, because the Living the Dream legacy is not Mario Reed. So that's my spiel on that. Another commenter says, am I using margin? No. In this account, because it's my daughter's trust fund, I'm not using margin. For anybody who is unfamiliar with what margin is a line of credit which is backed by your equities and positions. I've done lots of different workshops and videos about margin. I am a big believer in margin, but I've also learned that margin can result in you having to sell your equities and positions. So when it comes to my daughter's trust fund, which is what the Living the Dream Legacy Revocable Living Trust is about, I'm not going to use margin because I don't want for a margin call to happen. Dollar cost averaging is a great way to not have to use margin and then still continue to grow a phenomenal portfolio balance. So great questions. Thanks for asking those. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and delve into the meat and potatoes of this process. So I've transferred the $2,500 into the brokerage account. It's there and it's available for me to be able to purchase whatever equities and positions I want. Because it's after 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be operating off of extended trading, extended hours trading. And this is important because the reason why I'm doing this video today as opposed to on Friday is because I want to take advantage of some of the dividend paying funds. So there are high yield dividend paying ETFs, specifically through YieldMax and a few other different companies, where they pay out a very high dividend each week. And as a result, I want to take advantage of that. Now, how do I find out which one of these is paying out a substantial amount? I go right to Google and type in globenewswire.com. Once I do so, I click on the magnifying glass and then I type in YieldMax into the search bar. Once I do so, up pops the boogie, and we've got YieldMax ETFs announces weekly distributions for Group 2. I'm now going to look at all of these different high yield dividend paying ETFs. My attention is going to be focused on the distribution rate. I'm interested in going with winners. Who are the winners? Anybody who's paying out over 100%, which is Murney. Murney's paying out 100%, so I'm definitely getting some Murney. Morrow's paying out 83%. All they got to do is add an I, and that's a great equity position. We also have GDXY, which is gold. So gold miners option income strategy. Gold's doing very well for those who are unaware of it. So right now, I'm going to get some GDXY, I'm going to get some Morrow, and I'm going to get some Murney. Looks like those are the ones 80%. So perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of the dollar cost averaging amount of $2,500 that I put into the account, and half of that's going to go towards my high yield dividend paying funds. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to generate income that will become the money that I use to purchase more stocks, equities, ETFs. It's what it is that I've termed the recycling strategy. I get dividends. I use those cash dividends to purchase more stocks and equity positions. Those stocks and equity positions grow, and my portfolio continues to grow. Eventually, I get to the point where I don't even have to reach in my pocket to grab out $2,500. My dividends will equal $2,500, and then now it's on autopilot, auto growth. All right, so we're going to take 1250. Now I'm going to take half of the 1250 and I'm going to use that to purchase the dividend paying ETFs, but specifically Murney. And the reason I'm going to get Murney with half of my 1250, which is 625, is because when you look at this gains and losses, Murney has actually appreciated by 15.48% since the beginning of the year. That's unheard of. Typically, these high yield dividend paying ETFs don't appreciate. They usually depreciate. Look at all these at the bottom: RDYY, HOOW, HOOY, Circle, CRCO. They normally depreciate. Murney is on a tear and it's appreciating. So I'm actually going to take $1,000, not 1,000. Yeah, let's do it. We're going to take $1,000 of the 1250 and we're going to use it to purchase MRNY. So now I'm going to click on MRNY, which is the dividend paying ETF that's paying out 125%, and they're going to pay it out this Friday. my goal is to get paid this Friday. So even though we're after 3 p.m., because Charles Schwab has extended day trading, my hope is because we're still in front of 7 p.m., I'll yet be able to get paid. So I'm going to go to where it says buy, and I got to move this out of the way. Okay. So now over here on the right is showing that we're buying it as a part of the Living the Dream Legacy Revocable Living Trust. So now I'm going to click on the calculator and I'm going to type in based on market price of $20, and I want to invest $1,000. That's pretty easy. So it should be 50 shares. So we're going to apply 50 shares. We're going to hit apply. Now, because we're in after hours trading, I got to do a limit order, and that's the key. And I'm going to do day plus extended hours. That is the key. So it says that the price is $19.89. So I'm actually going to drop my limit price down to $19.95 because I don't want to overpay for it. Even though I'm overpaying a little bit, 6 cents. No, let's go down to $19.90. I'm going to go to $19.90 and see if I can get it. I don't want to reinvest my dividends because remember, I'm going to be using those dividends to purchase other equities and positions eventually. So I'm going to hit review, and then I'm going to hit place order, and it says that the order was received. Now let's check the order status because we want to see if I got it. Yep, there it is. So it says filled. I know how to pronounce filled. I'm talking fast, that's all. All right, so I got them. I got 50 shares at $19.90. It is my hope that now, because I got it in before 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm now going to get paid on Friday. I'll post that as a different video so that everybody can be aware. But that's part of the reason why this workshop had to be from 6 to 7, because I'm trying to get paid this week off of that. So now I've taken $1,000, and the $1,000 has been used for money. Now we got to spend the other $250. So we're going to go back to our account, and in doing so, back to Living the Dream Legacy, and you'll see that now it shows only $1,505 is available as cash. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take $125 and we're going to use that to purchase Morrow. Morrow, it has depreciated by 2% in terms of its share price, but it's paid me a dividend. So I'm okay with it depreciating because of the fact that I'm getting money. That's how the high yield dividend paying funds work. You buy it, and then it pays you a dividend. You can use those dividends however you want. So we got Morrow, which is paying out a very nice dividend this week. Same thing we're going to do. So I'm going to just do the math instead of going in through that calculator. No, I'll go with the calculator with that. We got time. All right. So I want to invest $125. So it's telling me that I can get a total of 16 shares. All right. No problem. Let's apply it. We're doing a limit order. The limit order is for $7.80. And then we're going to change it to day plus extended hours. I'm not reinvesting my dividends. I want that money to be able to decide. So now we're going to place the order, and then we're going to see the order status. It was filled. Excellent. So we're good. Got those shares. So now in to get paid this Friday. So now we have another $125. Now we're going to purchase something that's not a part of my portfolio yet. So I'm going to go to where it says stocks and ETFs right up top. And then I always want to check to make sure that I'm a part of the trust fund that I'm interested in using. So because I have multiples. So in this case, I got to make sure that it's on Living the Dream. It's telling me I got $1,380.60 of buying power. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is type in GDXY, which is the Yield Max Gold Miners. It's going for $18.78 in after hours trading. So I'm going to go to buy. I'm going to use this calculator. I want $125 worth. So I'm going to hit apply. And then it's telling me that I can get a total of 6 shares. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more share, even though it's pushing me over the $125. A-okay, because remember, for those other ones, I was a little bit under. So it all should work itself out. I'm gonna do a limit order. I'm not reinvesting dividends, and I'm gonna do GTC and extended hour. I'm sorry, day and extended hours. I want to buy it today in extended hours. I'm going to hit review order, and then I'm going to place the order, and wham, bam, thank you, man. We're going to check the order status, and survey says filled. So I got them. So I was able to get all three of the high yield dividend paying funds today, which now should allow me to get paid Friday. For Murney, I got 50 shares. Well, let's see how much that's going to yield for me. Murney is paying 47 cents per share. So because I added another 50 shares, let's see what my total share count is. So we're now going to go back to the trust fund. And when I'm saying trust fund, it's the brokerage account that's in the name of the trust. That's how the trust fund works. So I'm going to go back over to the brokerage account and the name of my daughter's trust. And then we're going to look at where it says Murney. So Murney currently has 60 shares. So we're going to multiply 60 times. Murney is paying out 0.4791. So that means this Friday, we get $28.74 from Murney. That comes as cash. Do whatever it is that you want with it. Is $28.74 going to change my life? No. But imagine if I get $28.74 for the next 52 weeks. That's $1,494. Now we start talking life-changing money. And it's because of the consistency and the regularity of it. That's the reason why these dividend-paying funds can be advantageous, especially when you consider I take that $1,494.79 and I use it to get other assets. And that's what this dollar cost averaging is all about. All right, so now I went and I purchased the high yield dividend paying funds. Now it's time to turn our attention to equities, what are known as individual stocks, growth stocks, as well as even growth ETFs. What are our growth stocks? As of right now, I don't know of a better growth stock than SanDisk. I purchased this stock for $268.20, and that was on January 2nd. It's already up to $527.63. I dropped the ball because I should have just been loading up on it in my other brokerage accounts. But such as life, you don't always make the best decisions, and you just learn from those not so great decisions. So it's a no-brainer. We're going to get another share of SanDisk. And a lot of people will say, well, it's already $528. How much higher can it go? It was $24 this time last year. So if it can go from $24 to $545 in less than a year, there's a possibility it can go all the way up to $10,000. Who knows? I'm not going to fight it. Now, one of the things that's going to happen is because I'm going to buy another share, now the gain percentage is going to drop in my portfolio. And that's because I wouldn't have made the 96% because I'm buying this one. I'm okay with that because I can remember that SanDisk is on a tear. So I'm going to go to day plus extended hours, and then I'm going to buy it for $546. One share is costing $546. That's what comes along with this game. Ideally, every stock that you purchase is eventually going to be worth $500. Some of them you're going to see a tremendous gain from because we're going to go to the order status and take a look and see, did we get it? That was filled, so we got another share of SanDisk. Now watch this. When we come back over to our brokerage account for SanDisk, now it's going to show that the return percentage has been chopped down substantially. So it was at the top previously, but now it's 29.61. And that's because my cost basis is now much higher. but that's the name of the game. I want to keep adding to the position. So it's going to be a case where it's going to go down. Rocket Lab, that was another company that was doing well. So because of that, we're going to come in here and we're going to get another share of Rocket Lab. We're going to go to buy. And after hours trading is trading for 87.90. So we're going to do buy. We're going to do limit order. And we're going to do 87.92. We're going to do day plus extended hours. We're going to hit review. We're going to place the order. And we're going to check the order status. And that order was filled. The market is technically closed, but we're in after hours trading. You're still able to go in and make these purchases even though we're in after hours trading. So that's the beauty. Another one of the benefits. Now, virtually all brokerage companies allow you to do this, but it's a case where we're doing it within the trust fund and we're seeing everything unfold right in real time in front of us. All right, so those two stocks alone has cut our amount down to 615.18. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to spread this thing out. So we're going to get some more ASTS. ASTS and RKLB, those are space exploration companies. And those space exploration companies are doing tremendous things. We're going to go ahead and get another share of ASTS. So let's get a little bit of this. You can get with this or you can get with that. And after hours trading is down 120.83. Today it appreciated by 8.52%. Most people, if they have their money in a money market account or a savings account or an annuity, they don't see 8.49% for a year. This did 8.49% today. Now, mind you, tomorrow it could drop by 8.49%. That's the nature of what it is that we're doing. I'm okay with it because I'm not concerned about what it does tomorrow, a week from now. We're tracking this over the span of a year. So because of the fact we're tracking this over the span of a year, when we see that something is doing well, we want to continue to ride that wave. And in riding that wave, we want to continue to bolster our position. So we've got these new shares. All right, 49% from WDC. We're going to go ahead and let's get a share of that. So Western Digital and a lot of these are tech companies, and these tech companies are doing so well because, of course, artificial intelligence, it has a ripple effect. So companies like Western Digital that is making the memory and the hard drives, they're benefiting because people now have to use more memory, more data. So take advantage of it. Remember, we got to do day and extended hours. I'm hitting review. Please acknowledge the following. This order is executable. Yeah, I know. That's why I did it. So I'm going to go ahead and check it. And then we're going to check the order status. After each one of these, I want to make sure that we're getting them. Perfect. We got it. So we're good to go. So now I'm going to go back. And then we're back at our portfolio. All right. We're down to $204. That's the amazing thing and the crazy thing about doing this with your dollar cost averaging. Even with $2,500, it goes fast. We've just went on a $2,300 buying spree. But instead of me walking out with bags from Neiman Marcus or from Foot Locker or from Champs, yeah, I know those are stores that existed. I don't know what people are shopping at now, but we're walking out with assets. And these assets ideally will appreciate throughout the rest of the year. We're going to track that asset appreciation in the form of which ones are doing well. AVXX has been doing well. That's an ETF. This is an ETF which is made up of a combination of different stocks. So now we're going to get some AVXX, which is a 2X. Anytime you see 2X, that means that it's twice the performance. And I don't know why this stinking highlighter is on here, but all right, sorry about that. I don't know why those green things are on there. I don't even know how to clear it out. I know what this is. All right, there we go. Clear all my drawings. There we go. Okay, so now we're back. So now we're going to get some AVXX. So I'm going to buy, and we're going to get 2 shares. We're going to do limit. We're going to do day and extended hours. Review it. Place the order, and now we're in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to get some. So I'm going to now purchase some of the positions which actually are down. And that's because we don't just want to get winners all the time. If it's a company that you believe in, vis-a-vis Netflix that's getting acquired by Warner Brothers, it's a good idea to get it, even though it's down 7.1%, because now you get to take advantage of a discount. So you'll start to see growth because you're buying it at a discount. But my strong suggestion, because I don't recommend anything, but my suggestion is only do that with companies that you genuinely believe in. Because if you don't believe in a company, then if it's down, that's telling you why it's down. But I believe in Netflix because I watch Netflix and I know a whole bunch of other people who watch Netflix. So right now is a phenomenal opportunity to take advantage of it because it's at a discount. The hope is that it's going to rebound and then you are able to see that growth because you got it at a discount. I did not purchase, so only one share. All right, perfect. So purchased another share of Netflix and let's see how that's doing. So, or let's see how much our account. So that was filled. So we're good there. Now we're going to go in and see how much money we have left. As you're going through this dollar cost averaging, the first time it's going to be a little bit slower. But then what's going to happen is that you're just going to pick up speed because with repetitions, usually speed accompanies it. We're down to $97.29. Now, RR has went crazy. Yesterday, it appreciated by 44%. So I'm going to leave that alone. It's only $5.08, but I'm going to leave it alone. Open is another one that's kind of inexpensive. Sidu, which is also rocket exploration, it's very inexpensive. Right now, we're at a point where I only got $97, so that limits my possibilities. So I'm going to check and see how much IREN is. So IREN is a company which has been doing very well, and we're going to check and see how much it's trading for because I wanted to add it to Ariel's trust fund so that way she's taking advantage of it as well. So perfect. We're going to get a share of IREN. Today it was up 2.98%. We're going to go to trade. We always have to make sure that it's in the brokerage account we want. It's right now trading at 61.79. It's $1.15 down, and after hours trading, we're going to go to buy. We're going to go to one share. We're going to have it limit, and we're going to do day plus extended hours, and we're looking to get it for 61.83. We placed the order, and order status shows it was filled. So now we have it. So now we should be down to about $30, $35, $36, $37, somewhere in that range. So for this last $37, for the sake of time, I'm just going to get whatever's closest in amount to that $37, $35.45. So ARXX, it has appreciated by 17.63%. That's a Kathy Wood fund. Kathy Wood is the woman version of Warren Buffett, been doing incredibly well. Shout out to Kathy Wood. Shout out to anybody who's embarking upon this journey, but especially people who have not historically been in this space. So got a lot of love for ladies who are embarking upon it, minorities, everybody in general, but especially those who have historically been kind of marginalized and out of this opportunity. And not because we were held out, but just the lack of knowledge. So I want to point out a lot of times you hear people say the man's holding me down. Nah, man wasn't holding us down on this one. It was our lack of research. It was our lack of interest. So I'm very happy to see when people are waking up to this. And a shout out to all of you who joined on this call last minute, because that shows you are making it a priority to expand your horizons, get information, and that's how we move our communities forward, is that it's on us. We got to go get it. Ain't nobody coming to save us. It's up to us to go get it. All right. So here is the order status. I don't care about podcasts, so don't take me to podcasts. So we're going to look at the order status and make sure that that order was filled, and it was. So now we're going to go back to trade, or we're just going to go back to the account. Back it up a few steps. And we will look at the brokerage account, the trust fund, and now we're in the trust fund, and there's $1.55 left. I'm not gonna go find a stock for $1.55. It's not, in my opinion, worth it. It's okay to keep that $1.55 there. If I wanted to, I could actually transfer that $1.55 back into my account. I'm just gonna leave it. Pretty soon, dividends will be flowing in, so at which point we'll be able to use it for that purpose. But as of right now, the whole, or essentially the 12,500, so it is, thankfully, the 12,500 is invested. You'll notice that it shows that the total gains and losses went down. And the reason it went down is because in after hours trading, it's still fluctuating, but it's still $788. So in 1 month's time, we took $9,000 and we grew it by $800, almost a 10% return, 6.73. Well, it's more than that because I added more money, but it's a 7-8% return. Ideally, by the time we get to the end of the year, we will have now contributed 25 plus, what's that? That's 30,000. So $39,000 will be our money that we put into the account. But ideally, you'll see a portfolio value of close to $100,000. That's what it is that I'm estimating and kind of projecting. I don't know the future, but just knowing how dollar cost averaging works and looking at it from the calculator, tip rents. So I've been going for a lot longer than I normally do. I'm going to take questions. So I said we were going to go till 7. We got 19 minutes. Does anybody have any questions or anything that is unclear they want to see happen over again? And thank you. So thank you, Mr. Zuniga. Appreciate you tuning in. This is something that's perfect for someone in your kind of situation where you got a family, got a lot of responsibilities, can't go reaching underneath the mattress and grabbing out 3 stacks. A-okay. Go ahead and grab out 300. Now, Jermaine says, after you get the payout from these ETFs, do you keep them or do you sell your stock in them, look for the highest ETFs the following week? Really good question. And Jermaine asked that because he's been along on the journey when we were chasing those various high yield dividend paying ETFs. This approach is not about chasing the highest dividend paying ETF and moving all of your capital. This approach is where you take the dividends and use that money to re-up, whether it be on other high yield dividend ETFs or on new positions such as Rocket Lab, such as ASTS, such as SIDU Open. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm glad that you also mentioned that because I'm going to be posting in the Kipwa group. And for those of you who are unaware, we have a group. It's called Kipwa. You got to come to an in-person workshop to be able to join that. But I'm going to be posting some positions which are anticipated to do really well this year. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen so that everybody can see it. But one of the things that is a great idea to kind of get into the habit of is following pages that are talking about this kind of information, because you'll get all kinds of different positions or different opportunities sent your way. So it's important to be in the right things. The market is making it obvious. These are the leaders. Within aerospace, we have ASTS, LUNR, PL, and RKLB. Within drones, goes on. Within memory storage, goes on. You'll notice a lot of these names were a part of the portfolio that I had. I added IREN, and that's because when somebody's killing it, ain't no point in fighting it. Jump on the bandwagon, especially when it's in an area that you know has a lot of sustainability. Drones aren't going anywhere. Aerospace isn't going anywhere. Data centers aren't going anywhere. So by getting these positions, it's like getting in on Amazon back when Amazon was first in the scene, or getting in on Apple when the iPhone first launched. That's what this is all about. All right, so are you using margin? Do you have to pay for extended day trading? No, you don't pay anything for extended day trading. All you're doing is just taking advantage of it after the market is closed. So there's no expense or cost. How do you know how many shares to buy? It's based on how much money that I have. So I'm making a judgment call based on the amount of money that I have. So if I have $500 and each share costs $30, if I want to buy just that position, then I get, what's that? 10, so 12, 13 shares, 14, 15 shares. That's how much I can afford. 16, that's my final answer. TQQQ pay dividends? No. Well, technically, almost every stock and ETF pays dividends. It's not a high yield dividend paying ETF. So it'll pay a dividend probably of like a quarter every 4 months, every quarter. But you're not buying it because you want dividends. You're buying it because of growth. So it's akin to the S&P 500, if you remember that, Trusty Mets. So back when we got it at, well, I think it was like $286. And now it's trading for over $600. That's what we're looking for TQQQ for. We're not looking for it for a dividend. We're looking for it for appreciation. And that's the beauty of separating the portfolio. We have stocks that we're using for dividends, and then we have stocks that we're using for appreciation. That mix allows us to be able to have it. Now, there's a personal question, or it's not a personal question, but an individual private question. How do you feel about HOY and HOW? I feel great about them. You may have noticed that in the position, so in the brokerage account, let me go back to it to bring the positions back up. So within the brokerage account, HOOW has 6 shares, HOOY has 10 shares. Those positions are continuing to pay out dividends, even though they've depreciated by 21% and 18% respectively. They're still continuing to pay out dividends. So those stocks are held on to for the purpose of getting money regularly. But when those dividends come in, I then take them, and instead of getting more HOY or HOW, right now I'll use it to get more MRNY. I'll use it to get more GDXY, more MARO. So it's a matter of using those different funds, those ETFs, for the purpose that is most beneficial to me. So we buy and hold. That is correct. So everything that's up here at the top is to be held. These equities, RR, RKLB, Micron, MU, NEM, LRCX, these are being bought to hold. And hopefully 2 years from now, 3 years from now, they've appreciated by 400%. And then maybe at that time say, okay, let's go ahead and sell off a few shares so I can pay for Ariel's college. But as of right now, these are being bought for the sake of allowing the appreciation to grow the trust fund. You're absolutely right. All right, let me hop back over to Facebook. How can I watch this from the beginning? So this is going to be posted on YouTube. And thanks for asking that question, Mr. Sadler. I appreciate that. Happy belated birthday as well to you. So what I'm going to do, this is part of the making of a trust fund using dollar cost averaging series. So you can go ahead and send this to, people in your circle who are clueless about this. The purpose of it being on YouTube is to make it accessible to those who aren't friends with me on Facebook, as well as those who couldn't join the Zoom call. So it'll be available for playback. I hope this is not a dumb question, but is investing $250 every 2 weeks a good way to start? There's definitely no dumb questions when it comes to this stuff, because most of us have never been introduced to it. So I'm glad you asked that, because, again, to help you see it, because for me, I need to see the numbers. You can tell me how great something is, but unless I can see the actual numbers, it doesn't really make sense to me. So remember earlier, and you might not have been on the call, but earlier I showed the client who came in today, and it looks like she's actually on the call. So thanks for jumping on. And she said that she wants to be aggressive over the next 10 years. So we talked about it, and I said, well, you, by being aggressive for the next 10 years, you can stop working in the next 10 years. And here's an example of why I say that. Because if we take $10,000, but you know what? Let's get rid of that. So let's say we only got 250 right now. If we take 250 and then we do 250, and we can't do it every 2 weeks, but I can put it as 125 every week. So that translates to the 250 every 2 weeks. So if we take 250 today, put it in the brokerage account, get it started. And then every 2 weeks, we put 250, which is essentially like 125 every week. If we do that for 10 years, we contribute $63,875. But had we started back in 2016, we'd have $439,000. So you're goddamn right that doing 250 is a great place to start. Doing $25 is a great place to start because we're still talking about 100 grand. It does not matter what the amount is as much as the practice and the principle and the process. Simply get started and be consistent. That's the part of it which this series is all about. But I want you to actually see it in real time. So come December, right before the New Year's, I'm going to do the last installment in this series, and we're going to check in and see how much has the portfolio gained versus how much have we contributed. And it's going to be mind-blowing. But instead of just talking about it, these videos are to actually show it, to be able to introduce this to a lot of us who don't have large sums of money to be able to toss into any of these different positions individually. You don't have to do that. Take the 50 bucks, take the 60, take the $59 for the $59 face man last night. Take whatever you can and just stack it. Let it grow, but instead of it growing in a shoebox with just the money you're contributing, let it grow with the equity and the appreciation from these equities. All right. Do you reduce taxes liability when trading in a trust fund? Nope. Same taxes, same liability, but remember, we don't see any liability up until we sell. Now, when it comes to the dividend payouts, once you've gotten your return of capital, then you start to potentially see taxes. But thankfully, because it takes over a year, we don't have to worry about that. And thank you, Trustee Matz, for that kind compliment. I appreciate it. Thank you for being an ambassador who's going out and talking about this to your friends, to your family members. And that's what we need. We need for everyone to return to being their brothers and sisters' keeper. As you get more familiar and acclimated with this, you should be imploring your loved ones to take advantage of it. And trust me, I understand. The reason you saw all those different trust funds is because I have not been able to convince all of my family members to take advantage. But that's okay. I started a trust for them. I opened up a brokerage account and I tossed $50 in there for them. And now every year on their birthday, I'm going to sell half of whatever the gain was, and then I'm going to give it to them as a birthday gift. The other half continues to grow. After 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of this, when they look back and I show them a trust fund that's now worth $4,000 that started with $50, then ideally they'll come on board. So even if it takes 3 or 4 years, that's up to them. I'm about to get this money, and specifically as it relates to my daughter, I want her life to be completely transformed. Did you say the brokerage account should have the name of your revocable trust? Absolutely. So you'll notice here in this left-hand column, all of these brokerage accounts are in the names of the trust. My father's trust is the THINK Legacy. My daughter's trust is the Living the Dream Legacy. My sister's trust is the Hello Darling Legacy. My sister's trust is the Milkshakes Make You Thirsty. Youngest brother's is Kids Gotta Eat. List goes on and on and on. Rick, spend it, spend it. So that's ideally what this should look like. Because if I die tomorrow, I don't want for anybody to have to go through probate. I want for them to be able to just pick up right where I left off, take the money from the life insurance policy, put it into the brokerage accounts, and keep everything running like clockwork. I also don't want for all these statements, the 1099s, which are available. So for those who have brokerage accounts, if you go to your messages, you should be seeing where it has your 1099 for the year available for your taxes. So I don't want these 1099s coming in my social, because then the IRS is going to say, oh, we got to check your. No, I want them all in the TIN for each of the trusts. All right, let me jump. Great info. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for hopping on. Greatly appreciate it. How can I watch from the beginning? So I'm now going to go into the video because sometimes the questions don't populate, but it's going to cause an echo. So I'm going to put it on mute real quick. So told you it was going to happen. All right, so let me go into the actual video. And all right, so after we get the ETS, so all the questions. All right, so it looks like I answered all of the questions on Facebook. So I'm gonna exit this video so we don't have the echo. Any other questions? Any other questions? Now's the time to jump in with it. As happy to get these addressed, but in 4 minutes we're gonna be signing off. So don't be like, oh, I should have asked this. Now's the time. Go ahead and ask it. Everything is available. Again, I want to remind everyone this video is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So once it is that it finishes, you can go to the law office of Mara A. Reed. It'll probably take like an hour or so because an hour video normally takes about an hour to upload, but it's going to be uploaded. It's going to be called The Making of a Trust Fund Using Dollar Cost Averaging. It's only going to be one fund. I don't know why I duplicate that. And it's going to be step 4, which is actually doing the dollar cost averaging. So there have already been 3 different videos in this series. Now this is video 4. You can watch it back. You can play it back. You can rewind. You can do all of that. Miss Lake, last night you asked about whether or not we would put up all of the different positions or put it in the group. Here it is. So right inside of the brokerage account, here are all of the different positions. So I'm going to leave it up for a good while. Let me go ahead and zoom out so we can get them all in. So those positions are RR, RKLB, MU, NEM, LRCX, SNDK, WDC, ASTS, IREN, TPR, WBD, Warner Brothers, OPEN, NFLX, PLTR, QUBT, and SIDU. I see a question in the chat. All right. Question, not related to this subject, but if you have a rollover IRA, is it worth taking it out and putting it into a brokerage account? So that's where you get into the financial advice. And because I'm not a financial planner or a financial advisor, I cannot give you guidance about what to do specifically as relates to a rollover IRA and everything like that. What I would say is, for myself, I would always look at the bottom line. My goal is to make as much money as possible, as fast as possible. If my IRA is not accomplishing that and I know of another opportunity, I would pursue it. Now, the great thing is that a lot of times, even within your rollover IRA, you can invest in these different funds. You just have to go in and change your allocations. So you don't actually have to remove the funds or the money from the rollover IRA. You just got to get it invested in different equities, ETFs, and companies that are actually growing. So the key is to make sure that your IRA is invested in things that are actually giving you a good return. That's where most people go wrong. It's not the fact that you're in an IRA. It's the fact that your money in the IRA isn't invested in anything that's doing any good. And it's because most of us didn't know what to invest in. So that's the other part of this, is getting introduced to other investment opportunities. And again, I'm not an investment banker. I'm not selling any securities. I don't want any money from anybody about any of this. I'm just sharing information. This is my personal trust fund for my daughter. Do whatever you want. It's of no consequence to me. So, all right, we got time for one last question. Any other questions? So I see here that we have, looks like everything is great. Got one on Zoom. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Appreciate it. Glad that you all are embarking upon this. Stay on the lookout. We're going to, again, be back in February. Second Sunday will be at South Holland. And then 21st will be at Hope Church. Last Tuesday of the month will be at Croc Center. We're going to have our first teen session. The teen session is going to be at the Park Forest Library. Huge shout out to High Performance Fitness, Mike Morales, as well as Gina Davis Morales, for doing just great work in the community and partnering on that one. So be on the lookout for it. Everyone, have a great one. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and may peace be unto you. Okay, stop share. All right, everyone, take care.